much to invite me. I'm Marcel Robillard. I'm the president and CEO of Puma Exploration, a junior mining company doing some mining exploration, mainly in the maritime Atlantic Canada, in New Brunswick, northern part of New Brunswick. So our company has been listed back in 2003, but now, we're looking really to find precious metal, especially gold, in one of our flagship project, which is the Williams Brook. So we have all the play within 50-kilometer radius, all really nice location in New Brunswick, and I've been a geologist back then in 96. So my background is a geologist, and I've been named CEO of the company in 2019. Brilliant.
Marcel, thanks so much for coming on the show. We've been trying to get you on for a while, and we're glad we've got you. Nice, interesting little gold exploration story. Tell me a little bit about you. What's your background, and how long have you been working in the region?
So I'm a project geologist at the beginning. So back then in 96, I used to be project geologist in New Brunswick. So all my career I've been working in New Brunswick. So I really know wells, the rock, all the history, and that's helped a lot because with New Brunswick government, it's helped to make good contact. So we have a really good relationship. So I've been a geologist for about 10 years up to 2019, and then I've been named CEO of the company.
Okay, and so tell me a little bit about past successes in terms of relevant to what you're trying to do here. What sort of companies would we recognize in there?
Yes, but as I'm pretty young still because I'm 51, but as experience, I have 25 years. So most of my career, I was working and trying to explore for a precious and base metal in Bathurst Camp. So that was mainly exploration, and I always been working on very early stage project. This is what it's really excite me, is to start from an idea, a model, and go on field and discover brand new stuff. This is exactly what we've been doing at Williams Brook, but at that time I was not the geologist. I really, really like to talk and have discussion with my background, with my VP exploration and the technical team, but mainly I'm just now running the company as management. And, when it's time to go on site, look the rock, I always share my view and my experience on the Bathurst Camp. So my first job was with Noranda, and then, Falcon Bridge and Extrata. But basically, I've learned with one of the major company that they control at the time, the Brunswick 12 mine, and about 80% of the mining claim in New Brunswick.
Okay, and so you mentioned one of the team there, Dominique. Can you tell us a little bit about the team that you put together for this project?
Yes, exactly. So we've been working, me and Dominique. Dominique is my best guy, what I would say. We've been working together for the last 15 years. So he's a VP exploration at the Puma Exploration, and he joined the team back in 2007. So since then, we've begin to be friends, and it's mostly like a friendly relationship where we have real discussion. Other people in the team, we have another experienced geologist, Mr. Alan Upe, who's been working in the Appalachian rock for the last 25 years. And if we're talking a bit more about the board members, so we have had some people from New Brunswick. We have Mr. Rick Thibault. He's a mining engineer, so he knows how to open mines. Last job was in Colombia for a topaz mine. Also, we have from New Brunswick, Mrs. Laura Arenada. She's a businesswoman. She's a business owner from a drill company. So we have two representatives from the province of New Brunswick. Other people around is Mr. Régent Gosselin, our chairman. He's been around for about, I should not say 50 years because he's going to be pissed off about me, but long time in the mining business. He's been everywhere around the world. So, and mainly exploration. And the last adding was Mr. Jacques Dion. Jacques Dion, we brought it aboard because he's the best guy for remediation, reclamation. He put some environmental company alive. He did some business and put people together, the First Nation and some businessmen, to build relationship with the stakeholder. So all of us are within the team. And basically right now we have about 10 people working steady on the field side.
Right. Okay. So let's try and work out what you're trying to do. Clearly, it's an exploration team, right? Just tell us a little bit about the geography, the geology of the region, because there's in your presentation, you sort of name drop some of the, some decent size company who've found a lot of gold along the way. From Newfound Gold and First Mining and Anaconda and Atlantic, etc. Marathon, big success, 5 million ounces there. So you're in the right part of the world, it seems. But why did you pick up the package that you've got? I mean, what did you know about it when you bought it?
As I've been working for, let's say, the last 15 years in Bathurst, we've been really concentrate mostly on the base metal side of the story, which is what we call the mining Bathurst camp. So that was the hold of the major VMS deposit like Brunswick 12, Caribou Mine, which is the only running base metal mines in New Brunswick, Restigouche Mine. So we know really well the geology in that area. So this is the Appalachian rock. But since about 2019, there was a big rush on the, as you said, about Newfound Gold, Labrador Gold, Marathon Gold, also some plays in Ireland, the Rillian Gold Mine in the USA as well. With Oceanic Gold, they have the Ale Mine. So that was brought back because for years and years, there was some exploration for gold in Newfoundland. But now they have really discovered a new way to do the exploration. So I've been sitting with my VP Exploration, Dominique Gagné, and said, we have the same kind of rock. This is the same age because before the continent breakup, the Newfoundland, Ireland, Newfoundland, and New Brunswick was all tied together in one continent. So what we find in New Brunswick, we can see the continuity in Newfoundland and also up to Ireland. So we said, okay, this is the same age, same kind of rock, same tectonic event, and also, we should look for gold. And then we get a call from the prospector. So be there for 15 years. We've always been honest and doing some real field work. So the prospector called me and said, hey, Marcel, I find some really nice grab sample with 50 grams gold. I said, at the time, people said, 50 grams is one nugget and doesn't mean anything. But when you look the other player around, when they hit really high-grade gold, he said, it's not there for nothing. So then back in 2019, we did a visit site with the prospector. And in May 2020, so only 2 years ago, we start working on the exploration. And then from one quartz vein with a 50 grams gold in it, this is what I'm more proud of my team. It's not like going back on previous deposit, previous thing, we built everything. So we went from one grab sample, 50 gram, to now has been able to define a 750 meters long strike with gold in it and very high grade. Like the last news we got, 34 grams over 3 meters. This is similar, but it's just at the beginning of the story. Right. That was the reason why we push on gold, mainly about that. And also back in 2019, we have experienced a rollback 10 for 1. So I said, move on from base metal and focus on gold. And we had at the time different copper play, zinc play that they are going to be dividend to our shareholder. And Puma is really focused on one area where we think, according to our knowledge and contact, that could be a brand new emerging gold camp in New Brunswick.
Right. Okay. So you're in the right postcode, right? And so that's great. And that you've got focused, and you've kind of restructured the corporate structure, which is great. You announced last year, right? That a discovery, right? You push, okay, 5.5 grams over 50 meters. That's a nice drill intercept. But what in your mind makes a discovery? Because we've had people come on the show after one drill hole and go, "We've made a discovery," and it's like, well, it's maybe a little bit premature, but obviously back then to where you are today, what can you tell us about what you talk about 750 meters strike length. That's great. But what else do you now know?
We know a lot more because, as I said, we start from scratch. So everything has been understood and studied. So we like to do systematic work, getting the right information, technical information. And to be honest, I don't like to spend my investor money for nothing. So, I'm really tight on cash. I really want to do the real good stuff. So having made that discovery at the beginning, that's helped us because most of the time the company, what they do different kind of survey, geochemical survey, geophysical survey, and then they try to find something. So compared to us, because we already had that discovery in hand, we did all those survey to get the signature. Because, we had that first discovery. It was followed by different, we're talking about one holes, but many holes were over 50, gram per tons on it. So that was really not just one hole. This is one area. And then doing what we can do in New Brunswick, which is the stripping, because there's no big overburden. So it's really easy to strip the surface and get the real rock. So we took much more sample. And from the first discovery last year up to now that we just announced the second round of drilling, we have proving up that over 450 meters at surface, we have the same kind of grade. So we're not talking about just one spot. Now, on the field side, on the geology, we can see 450 meters. So what we did last year was to go to school, understand the vein type, the grade of hole, if it nugget effect, if there's gold in the sediment and the rhyolite or just in the quartz vein. And then we did major aerial survey, airborne, VTEM, radiometric, MAG, EM, and all that. So now we have that signature, and we know because we're currently doing the 3D interpretation, 3D compilation, 3D inversion, and they show us that 700 meters is just the tip of the iceberg because, for sure it's a model, but it's geophysical data, so we don't have drilled those, but that is following of our 10 kilometers. So, with the work that we want to do this summer, we're going to do 10,000 meters. This is on progress currently. At the end of June, the 10,000 meter will be done on that zone. And then we're going to go on field of what we're the best, stripping, trenching, that entirely 10 kilometers long favorable horizon defined by the geophysical survey. So within the summertime, we're going to send back team, find us stuff. And then in the fall, we're going to go back and drill the best target. So the only thing we don't know, Matthew, is how big it is. Because so far, nothing stopped us. So it's really, we don't have red flag. Gold everywhere, mini quartz vein, high-grade vein, and it's not just one area. Now it's followed. But I totally agree with you. It's really early stage. As I said, we compare sometimes with Marathon, Newfound Gold. They have 200,000-300,000 meters of drilling. We just have done last year 2,500 to understand what it is. And now, last week, we have announced the first 2,500. So basically, we have 5,000 meters of drilling done so far. But so far, so good. Right.
And so what are you hoping? Because you have $5 million in the bank or thereabouts, right?
Yeah.
And you say you're tight with money. So how many meters do you actually expend? You've announced 2,500 recently, and then you're going to have to step back and see what you've got, and then you've got to work out where you go next. So what does that plan look like for this year? Because small companies with big ambitions, cash constrained, it's difficult. You need a plan. So what does that look like?
Yeah. So the plan has been defined since January, and something is great for Puma. When we're saying something, that's what we're doing. It's not like, okay, we blew things and so we're going to do that just to excite the market and we're not doing it. This is not the way. So basically in January, we have announced the 2022 work program, which include the first phase, 10,000 meters drilling. So this is, as we speak, we still have 4,000 to go in that current drilling. So by the end of June, we're going to have the 10,000 meter drilling done. And as you know, there's some back time receiving the assays. So during that time that we're going to receive all the assays, we're going to do to find and discover more zone, more lenses at surface. So this is going to be stripping, trenching, prospecting over the entire property because we're working on 700 meters and the property is 30,000 hectares. So we have a lot of room. And some other place in the project, back in 2008, there's other company that they drill 54 grams over 3 meters, 1 grams over 20. So those area, believe it or not, we've not even doing some work on it because we're so excited with that zone. So this is all left to be done. So summertime, trenching, stripping to identify 1, 2, 3 more zone like the O'Neill. After that, we're going to do, we already start a recovery test just to give us, some kind of idea. Sometimes, even if you talk about 20 grams gold, but you recover 30%, it's not a 20 grams gold mine. So that's going to be this. And hopefully, because those drilling, the quartz vein, the stock work, the network, sometimes you can hit and not hit like 2 meters away. So we're planning a bulk sample on surface. So that's going to give us a better idea of the drill intercept that we have, what would be the real great. So that's going to be done up to the fall. And then at the fall, then we're going to launch 5 or 10,000 meters of drilling to finalize the summer. This is all finances. So we're not looking to raise money. The way that people want to get the position is to get into the secondary market. And this is the way that the people can get the position. We're not looking to raise money right now. And, even if I had 25 million in my treasury, I would not do it too fast neither, because, sometimes when you have too much money, you just drill without any target. And then the reality of it, I don't know if it's the same in London, but there's employment. It's hard to get people. So even if I had 20 drills on site, I would not probably have right now like 30 geologists to do the work. So, having now brought, this morning we just announced the news, we brought the second drill just to accelerate because we're so happy with the first drilling. We also want to follow up on the high-grade vein. So this is going to be all done before the end of June.
It's interesting because I understand a bit about personnel. It's hard and it's getting expensive. But you answered the question with regards to how many drills. So second drill coming up, second diamond drill presumably coming up on site. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's done.
And you're running that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
We have 2 drills. We have 2 drills on site right now. One will continue to drill the systematic zone of 750, and the second drill is there to test the high-grade shoot, the underground, the sources, the feeder, to get like something probably similar to Newfound Gold, if it's possible. This is what we're looking.
Well, Newfound Gold's a great model of how to market yourself out there. But they're seeing these super high grades, but they're doing these kind of very small step outs because they don't want to lose the vein, right? It's a very specific type of drilling that they have to do. But then you've got perhaps different types of drilling, like Marathon, right? There's different type of drilling has gone on there, and some of the other names there are slightly more conventional. So how do you see this? I appreciate it's early, you just started, but you've done some drilling. What are you starting to see in terms of the veining and the type of geology that you're having to try to understand?
Yes. So what we have on site is there's really one important feature is the contact from the sediment and the rhyolite. So that's 2 kinds of rock. One is pretty soft, the sediment, and the rhyolite is pretty hard. So they are now, so far, the gold was concentrated within the first 25 meters to 50 meter zone, similar to Marathon, along, the contact. For us, this is a lithologic contact. For them, this is a fault. But that's the real same thing, which is some, hard rock and softer rock. This is a rhyolite, so a volcanic event. But we know exactly how it's dipping, and we know that those quartz vein and gold mineralization always coming from somewhere below. So before, we didn't even know if it was over or where was the top or the below. With the drilling that we know now, we know this is. We know exactly the sediment is at the top. We have the rhyolite. That means that there's major, probably, we're exploration, so we have models. So there's major vein, major system orogenic vein that can be higher grade coming from the bottom. And when they touch that contact, all the gold was concentrated there. But, if you're looking and chase for the high grade, you're going to have to drill deeper. But because nothing has been done at surface, I don't like to do prospecting with drill holes. I want to do, really discovery with holes. But the prospecting and define the model as much as we can do with surface, trenching and stripping is good. But having those all done, we now try to understand those veins are coming together to one feeder zone. And that's the reason why we brought the second drill, because we want to continue. And, just an example, if you do 100 meters hole, you can do 10 holes for 1,000 meters. If you drill 500 meters hole, you do 2 holes. So you only have 2 shots this big to find the sources. But before doing that, I prefer to do as much as I can at surface, because when you have the first 50 to 100 meters understanding, then it's easy to extend that at depth and then boom, drill the jack.
Yeah, it's I was going to talk about whether you sort of swarming of these veins and whether you do try and understand the source rock, as it were. But I come back to this kind of like early stage. You're whatever you are, 36, 30, $40 million company, let's say, right? Yeah. You got some money in the treasury, and you said it's enough to do the drill plans for this year. But you're kind of cash constrained in the sense that you've got a big land package here. You can go multiple places, right? And it's early stages, so you've got to be really efficient. You've got to make sure you don't waste money. So I've seen that. You're doing a bit of work over at Chubby and Moose. I love the idea of a Puma with a Chubby-Moose. What's going on over there? Why are you focused on that? Because there's multiple targets for you that you could be going for. So what's the decision making? Say, right, that's the place to start. That's where we should concentrate.
Yeah, because when we've put in 3D the veins that we got, the grades of the high grades, it seems that those veins are giving us the direction that the fluids and the sources can be below Chubby. And also at Chubby, there's some antimony. There's a little bit more, chalcopyrite, galena. So most of the time, it's some zone where you have a little bit more heat. So that's come again with that. And you know what? There's a really great IP and chargeability anomaly. So on ground. So all those three together give us that, yes, but you're totally right. Maybe you were working on something that it's insignificant beside the major discovery we're going to do further away. So having, the summertime, and that's the reason why we have flown the entire property, because, it was really expensive and we decided to do it. So we put, I think was about like 800,000 Canadian to do all those survey, very tight VTEM survey, radiometric, and the potassic alteration, the anomaly of potassic alteration is coming to the right place. We're pretty sure what is the right light. So we think we have totally a camp. But during the summertime, the good thing is we went from 30,000 hectares to a zone of about maybe 200 meters, but follow for 10 kilometers. But so this is, we shrink a little bit the target. So this is, what we have. But, it's a part of luck as well. We need to feel the ground. We need to feel it and say, oh, I have a good feeling, because you're totally right. We can put all those information together, but one day you're going to decide, okay, we start from there. So,
right.
Yeah,
so
from the stick. Yeah.
I get that. Like I say, it's early days. You got to get on the ground and get a feel for what's going on, and you don't necessarily get that from sitting behind a desk looking at the data. Right. So we're going to see more drilling from you. That's what we can expect to see. Yeah. You've been clear about the plan of attack there. If I look at the market, you're lucky you don't have to raise money in this market. It's been a difficult time for the last month or so, and I don't know how long it's going to last. So in a very meaningful way, you kind of don't care as long as you can get on and do what you want to do. So timing and luck is a lot in this business. So the drilling that is going to come back. Did you say that there are still some delays from Assays? When we
went from 60 days to 45, 40 to 40. Okay. Well, it's a month range anyway. And then, when you get your assays back, then you have maybe a few weeks to just make sure you understand those things. So I would say, like, once the hole is done, you can estimate about 60 days to get the assay. So what we want to do is to release, we get early the last week and use about the first 2,500. So we try to do 2,500 at the time, constant news, and make sure we're going to have like regular news on that. And then when we're going to do the stripping and trenching, we're going to find more. But the reality of it, we want to do as much as we can, do the best discovery. And also on the fall program, we won't just drill that 700 meters, because the program in the fall is to test the entire belt. So for sure, we cannot test 10 kilometers with, let's say, 10,000 meters, but at least with all the information we have, with all the survey, with all, the knowledge, and we are really, really based on the geology, then we're going to do, I can say probably 10 holes within the entire 10 kilometers to find out and proving up the blue sky of having a bigger and bigger. And the reality of it, we're going to try to work to finance the next 25,000, because first year we've done, let's say 2,500 meters. This year, we're going to do probably a 15,000 to 20. And next year, we would like to do 25 to 30. But to do that, we need two things. a good market, as you said, was a little bit in the ash can lately, but also we need to continue the story. We need to build momentum. And just like my chairman said, it's like we're writing a book. Every work is a chapter. Okay, the chapter of geophysical is done. The chapter of the first discovery is done. Now we did the trenching. We confirmed 700 meters is done. The next big target is to find out many more of those along the 10 kilometers of favorable horizon.
Right. Okay. You've laid it out beautifully. I get it. I understand it. Although I would like you to come on and maybe get a little bit technical with the drilling and the modeling there. But we'll do that another time. Let's talk about the structure. You talked about a rollback. The breakup it seems to be sort of just over 50% retail and friends and family and insiders have a big chunk too. So that kind of structure seems to work. I mean, but what about the G&A component? I mean, what is the overhead for the business and what does that include?
What do you mean by that?
As in,
monthly cost or something like this?
Yeah, exactly. Overheads.
We're based in Rimouski, so this is saving a lot because just to give you an example, the rent for having the entire office, everything is $2,000 a month, including the office for everybody, internet, phone, everything.
Wow.
It's really not really expensive. The other good thing is I don't get a big salary. So, basically we do about, I think the burning rate just for the office, not talking about, the field that is adding up, it's about $30,000 a month, something like this.
Okay.
So it's really, we have a part-time CFO. For sure, once we're going to be bigger and bigger and bigger, we're going to need more people, we're going to need a bigger team. So the cost will be here. But, right now, it's almost, it's really, really, I would not say cheap, but not expensive.
No. That's very good. That's very good indeed. Yeah. Okay. Well, look as a first pass, that's fantastic. Like I said, I've been looking at you for about a year and trying to, we're quite keen to get you on. So I'm glad you've done that. We'd love it if you come back on with your VP Exploration, get a little bit technical with us, so we can sort of do a little bit diligence, understand what it is that you know and what you're trying to find out. But appreciate your time today, Marcel. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew.